LBUSD parents, guardians, and community members, and welcome to Parent Connection. Tonight, LBUSD Superintendent Dr. Jill Baker and district staff members will give us an update on the LCAP and also share some bits and pieces about the budget engagement process. As you listen to the presentation tonight, I encourage you to ask questions and share comments using the YouTube link in the video frame. If your question is not answered tonight, please be assured that someone from our team will respond to you this week. So please remember to include your contact information when submitting your question. Before we begin the presentation tonight, Amy Love, our social emotional wellness coach, will help us spring forward into some self-kindness. Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Alyssa, and thanks, Dr. Baker, for inviting me back again this evening. Greetings, families, caregivers, parents, and community members. It's great to be with you again this month for Parent Connection. And since we last met through Parent Connection, our season has indeed changed. It's so wonderful to look around our Long Beach communities and see all of the different gardens at schools being planted and all of the wonderful things that are blossoming and blooming, literally and metaphorically. And I thought it would be nice for us to spend a little bit of time talking today about springing into self-kindness. I think I'm adopting this new term self-kindness instead of self-care for myself lately and wanted to share that with you too. So this is another acronym. I shared an acronym with you last time using the mindful stop method. I'm sharing another acronym with you this time, which is a gentle encouragement for us all to practice self-kindness in a few easy ways. And the first is the S, to set time aside for you. You know, as families and parents, caregivers, community members, our lives can become really, really busy. And we spend a lot of time tending to and caring for other folks in our communities and our families. And it's really important that we spend even just a moment or two each day focusing on ourselves and our own needs. You know, it reminds me of that idea of putting your own oxygen mask on first so that we can be healthy and safe for ourselves, and then also to be able to show up for the folks that we care about in our communities and our families. The P is an offer for you to pause long enough to notice nature. My office happens to be at Tucker, used to be Tucker Elementary School, and we're nearby a park. And at lunch, I've been challenging myself to take a break and walk into the park to notice the nature and to let the blooms and the blossoms and the bees and the birds help to settle my nervous system. So I'm inviting us all to do that. The R is to rest. I don't know about you, but this change in daylight savings time, this change has made me a little more tired than I'm used to. So I'm building in some extra time at the end of my day to start to settle down so that I can feel energized in the morning, and invite you to do the same thing. The I is to imagine the possibilities. You know, often when we're lesson planning as teachers, we take into consideration, you know, what could be the possible challenges in our lessons when we're teaching, and how might we meet those challenges with really effective instruction. And I've been kind of operationalizing that in my personal life, but instead of thinking about the challenges in a day, waking up in the morning and thinking about all of the possibilities, what could go right in a day, and wanted to share that with you. The N in our spring acronym is to nurture your passions, to take time to do the things that you really love. I'm a novice gardener. I'm really not that good at it, but I really enjoy it. So I know I'm building in some time during the upcoming spring break to nurture that passion. When we take time to nurture our passions, it can help to support our creativity and our compassion when we nurture our passions. And the last letter in the spring acronym is to give thanks. When we set our attitude toward gratitude, it is so healthy for not just our emotional well-being, but for our physical well-being as well. So that's my gentle encouragement for us all to spring forward into self-kindness. These are things that we can do for ourselves. These are things we can also share with our students. And before I leave, I want to share with you one more brief activity that we've been sharing all over the district with our students this year. This is a really wonderful activity that can support that R in rest when we're springing into self-kindness. It can also help to support that nurturing our passions. And this short, simple activity is called Flower and Candle. It's actually a mindful breathing activity. And it's really simple. The idea with this activity is that we visualize something that is pleasant for us to smell. And I thought that this was appropriate during spring because there's so many beautiful flowers that are growing. I'll warn you, you might need to take your metaphorical Claritin or anti-allergy medicine before you do this activity. I happen to love freesia, so I put freesia on the screen for you. But if you love roses or you love jasmine or you love, oh my gosh, the orange blossoms and the lemon blossoms right now in our city are absolutely aromatically perfect to me. So I invite you to think of a flower or a smell that's pleasant for you and envision that flower in front of you right now, and to take a deep inhale of that flower as though you're inhaling that aroma that is really pleasing for you. So breathing in like you're smelling that flower, maybe that freesia. And exhaling not to blow out a candle, but rather to make the flame on the candle flicker, dance a little bit. So a gentle exhale outward. And do that maybe 2 or 3 times for yourself, inhaling that fragrance that's pleasing to you. And exhaling as though you are making the flame on a candle dance a little, flicker a little, a gentle exhale. I also want to say while you're practicing this activity that while we're still in a global pandemic, that if you're sharing space with people and you're exhaling out of your mouth, that you exhale downward, or you choose to exhale out of your nose, your choice. Although we wouldn't be trying to blow out a candle with our nose because that would be silly. And exhaling. And you can do that anywhere. I love practicing these mindfulness activities that we can do anywhere. If we're standing in line somewhere, or we're driving our car, or we're about to help with homework, or we finished the homework, we got through it, taking some gentle breaths in that way can really be calming, satisfying. So if you use this with your students, they may have been taught this practice using a different name. So I often will call it flower and candle, but some of our teachers call it pizza breath. So with our younger students, you know how when you bite into a really hot piece of pizza, how it can really hurt your mouth? So we call it pizza breath. So we inhale as though we're smelling that delicious ooey gooey cheesy smell and maybe even pepperoni. And then we blow on our pizza to cool it down before we take a bite. That works with young students. Actually, not just young students. I have to admit that I used that with some teenagers at a wellness center this week, and they liked it too. The other way that you can think about it, and I know you're gonna call Amy crazy, but sometimes I call this coffee breath. I know we have a negative relationship with coffee breath, but we can also imagine if you drink coffee in the morning or tea, or maybe you take bone broth in the morning. If you take a hot beverage in the morning, holding it in your hands and taking in the aroma deeply, pausing, really enjoying the embodied experience of the scent, and then blowing your hot beverage, cooling it off. I know when I do this with little kids during the holidays, I'll often call it cocoa breath. So you choose flower and candle, pizza breath, coffee breath, whatever you want to call it. I encourage you to give it a try. It's a sweet activity that lots of our students and teachers have been enjoying lately, and it's a pleasure to get to share it with you all. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much for always reminding us to center self-love and self-care. I really appreciate those reminders. And now we're going to have our presentation from Dr. Baker and her team about the LCAP update and budget engagement process.
Thank you, Alyssa, for passing to me. And let me just thank Amy Love for joining us for the beginnings of our sessions. It makes me realize also the power of feeling all the feels, as I sometimes have said, just letting ourselves feel all the feelings we have in this moment and letting some things go as we discover just ways that we can be kind to ourselves. I love the self-kindness term. Thank you, Amy, for that. I also had two just quick reflections that I want to share. The first is the beauty of the jacaranda trees across our Long Beach community. I know if some of you have a jacaranda tree outside your house, you may not appreciate it as much because it drops its beautiful flowers eventually onto cars and to other things. But something that I like to notice as I'm going out in the city across schools. And so just came to mind as Amy was sharing. The second thing is I want to thank you all as parents and caregivers in our community for all of your patience with us and just all of the ways that you are coming back into our schools as those opportunities arise. Today, I visited 3 schools, an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, all in one day. And what a pleasure it was to see parents on campus in the role of volunteer in public school, picking up students, and just had a really nice opportunity to chat with some of our parents and experience school through their eyes. And that always is helpful to me in thinking about parent connection and my day-to-day work as superintendent. So really glad to be here with you tonight. We have a team who's ready to present. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes. Some of you might be new to Parent Connection, and some of you might not be new. So for those of you that have come all the months before or have watched Parent Connection, the next couple of minutes will be repeat, and then we'll get to the heart of tonight's session. So I always want to remind us about the purpose of Parent Connection. This opportunity to create human connection between parents and caregivers, myself as superintendent and district staff. Just a really nice connection. And I'll just give a preview to the end of something that I'm going to share about the April session. It's also our purpose to provide district-wide information that enhances the experience that you have at your schools and the connection that you have to your school. So we'll often talk about district resources and school resources, and we'll always give you some questions that you can ask back at your school that should help enhance your connection to your school. And then this is an opportunity for two-way connection. The way that we're doing that right now is that you can use the feature on the YouTube page to submit questions. And if they're not answered right away in our session, they will be answered by district staff. Everything you ask is a form of data for us, and it's an opportunity for us to learn and to listen and to improve things that go on across the district. Also, just a reminder about the assumptions that we make, and I'll paraphrase these to be a little bit shorter tonight. Parents and caregivers, we know that you are your child's first teacher. That's an assumption we make. We also make the assumption that you want school to be a place of high expectations and care. We also think of the role of parents and caregivers in students' lives, and we know that students' lives are enhanced when there's adults around them that are involved in school. And that a homeschool connection that is both parts, home and school, contributes to student success. Several of those are actually shown. They have a research foundation to them, and they've been shown in study after study. And so we're glad that you're here. A reminder to those who have participated before, and if you're new, here are the focal areas for Parent Connection this year. In each session, we've talked about the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan, accessing resources both in your schools and from central office or across LBUSD. And then there's been an aspect of communication and community engagement. Tonight is going to feature an aspect of engagement that you'll hear about in just a moment. And so what is the Learning Acceleration Plan? It's a really important plan that is in its first year of implementation. It's not a required plan, but it's the way that we have tried to be transparent, strategic, intentional about supporting our students and our teachers coming out of a pandemic to accelerate and support them. It has several features. It is our work to enhance the core classroom experience for all students, so that when we say excellence, we're thinking about excellence now and into the future, that every classroom experiences growth and is a place where a teacher has an opportunity to learn in support of students. It's also a plan that features our attempts at acceleration, intervention, and support. It is a plan that supports student well-being and has a goal of enhancing every classroom's infrastructure. And actually, we've begun that work this year, replacing furniture and improving the infrastructure for all of our schools and classrooms in service to our students. And so the next two slides I'll just leave for a moment, just to show you, if you're looking and thinking, well, I go on the district website, where do I find the learning acceleration and support plan? On the left-hand side is a single click from the front of our webpage. And on the right-hand side is the document itself. So once you make that click, the plan is available in English, Spanish, and Khmer. And then below it, you'll actually find recently updated financial trackers that show you the amount of money that the district has spent in the last year and in our plans to go forward in support of acceleration and the support that our students need. And so here we are tonight. Oh, actually, I'll skip that. Thank you. Here we are tonight. We're going to be really leaning in and working with our budget engagement team tonight around LBUSD's approach to budgeting. This is part of our work in engagement and voice. And in the learning acceleration and support plan, that falls under Pillar 3. How do we engage adults and students and uplift voice? And you're going to have an experience tonight with members of our team who are going to engage you around budget. So tonight is around the broad approach to budget. I have said many times, and I'm going to say it again as we kick off tonight and before I pass to our team, that the budget engagement process and budgeting in Long Beach Unified School District is actually a year-round process. And so we're at this point, if you think of this, so it's a single slide that has arrows pointing in one direction, but if you can imagine that the arrows on the right-hand side, they loop back around and they'll start again next school year. But here's what I want you to know tonight as you get ready to engage with our team. All of the inputs that you give tonight in thought exchange, in your conversations with our district team, in the submission of questions, opportunities for you to engage in the different structures that we have around budget, they are part of a big, important process that informs multiple plans. And so in the center of this slide, you'll see the plans that were informed by last year's budget engagement. ESSER 3, the expanded learning opportunities, the local control and accountability plan, and the learning acceleration and support plan. So you're here for a reason. You're here to provide your voice and your input to much of the way that the district thinks about serving our students and serving them well. You bring a really unique perspective, especially as a parent. You are your child's first teacher. And so in addition to the educational decisions that we make on behalf of your students, this is an opportunity for you to weigh in on what you know about your students. Your contributions will inform next year's learning acceleration and support plan. So we'll take what we've learned this year, we'll add feedback from parents and other community groups, and we will issue in the summer the second version, LASP 2.0, as it's shown on the slide. We're also preparing for next year's learning local control and accountability plan, the LCAP, as it's informally known. And so all of the input that you give tonight will be used in the development of our LCAP. What's not on the slide, but from a superintendent's perspective that I want to share with you, is that following the LCAP, there are two other processes that we're actively working on. You'll hear me talk about one towards the end of the meeting, but that is our Board of Education's visioning process, which will also lead to a new strategic plan for our district. So those aren't named on the slide, but I can confirm for you that the data that is collected tonight and in our other budget engagement meetings will be used for those purposes. So it gives me great pride to introduce our team who is going to take over. It is their expertise to connect with you, and they are here to do that. And so thank you for the opportunity. I'll be back towards the end of the meeting to connect with you and also to share something about the April Parent Connection meeting that I think is going to be exciting. So I will see you soon.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. I really appreciate the bigger picture for our process for budget engagement. But I'm here to thank parents for being here tonight with us. This is kind of a roadshow, so if you've been in other parent meetings, you've seen these slides before, but it never hurts to share these slides again, especially because we're going to ask a call of action for you to help us with this engagement. So I'm going to quickly start off. And before I do, I want to introduce some people who are here today. As a team, we are working very hard in an interdepartment team, not just one portion of this district, but many, many facets of this district have come together to work through and understand the needs of students so we can provide the best programs and services for students based on student need. So today you're going to the Director of Equity, Engagement, and Partnerships. You'll hear from Renee Arcus, the Executive Director of Fiscal Services. You'll hear from Viva Mogi, who is our Director of Strategic Programs and Policy Development. You'll also hear from Carmen Hernandez, Administrative Assistant for Equity, Engagement, and Partnerships. And also George Tsai, who's our Assistant Director of State and Federal Programs. The reason I wanted to introduce them is because to be able to show that this is not a one department, hey, business department, or hey, budget department, you do this. It is all of us, and we're interconnected, and we are all listening to your voices. So for the first part of our presentation, we're here to give a mid-year LCAP update. That's the Local Control and Accountability Plan. And this is a brand new requirement. And this is a requirement to help inform parents about some new monies that came in very recently from the state, that additional funds after the LCAP was adopted by our Board of Education in June. So part of this report will talk about the impact and the additional funds, as well as a supplement to the annual update, which has 5 prompts from the California Department of Education. But in my humble opinion, the most important part of this 42-page document, which can be found at lbschools.net/LCAP. And I'm going to repeat that a couple of times so that we get involved with the actual report. This 42-page report, my most exciting part of it is the mid-year outcome and expenditure data, which shares with families and community line by line every action that is written into the LCAP and how much or what the expenditures, how much we've expended so far for each of those actions. The second part of that is the mid-year outcome data, which shares with you every single metric or goals that are in the LCAP and where we are as of last month. That's very exciting news because now you have a halfway period of time during our academic calendar, and we're updating the community about all of the plans, all the actions, and all of the expenditures, and all of the goals. And it's very transparent and very clear, and I'm very excited to say again, where are you going to find this really excellent report? It's www.lbschools.net/LCAP. And without further ado, I'm going to have my colleague Renee take it away. Renee.
Thank you very much, James. And I am glad to be here as part of this update to the Parent Connection and share with parents what's going on in our budget world. It's so exciting to have so many departments sharing in the information that we're about to present today, which brings together the state funding that we receive, which is a majority of our funding, and how it plays out in our LCAP for your distribution. So back in June of 2021, we have adopted our budget, and we adopted a total LCFF funds of $752.4 million. And part of that was our supplemental concentration grant of about $120.6 million. This is representative of the budget information that we had from the state of California at that time. The budget for the state gets developed a little bit later, and we get information regarding what the final budget is sometime in the July timeframe. So in August, we take back to our board some additional information regarding our budget process, which includes an updated LCFF funds and an updated supplemental concentration grant. That amount was $131.8 million. However, our LCAP is developed and made up of some money that is based on our student population. So with each period of time, we receive more information about our student population, which does in fact affect our budget for the current year. So at our first interim report in October, we reported back to the community that we did have $759.6 in LCFF funds, and our new supplemental concentration grant was about $127.8 million. Finally, we're projecting in March a final information regarding our LCAP, and we're projecting about $124.3 million in supplemental concentration grants. The reason this is important to share with you guys today is the LCAP is a pretty lengthy document that includes a lot of information. However, there is a budget overview for parents in our LCAP. Today, we're updating the numbers with you through this presentation and through many other presentations throughout the district to let you know where we finally landed in our LCAP funding source and to let parents be aware of actually what we're going to spend this year in our supplemental and concentration grants. So let me spend a little bit of time telling you about what our LCAP update gives you. Our LCAP is divided into 5 basic goals, which includes a lot of activity in our district. As a matter of fact, it includes a majority of the activity in our district. We have basic services, supportive schools, academic progress, college and career readiness, and active engagement. As you can see to the right of the chart, we have included for you a summary of our mid-year budget information. On the left-hand side of each of the goals is what we budgeted for the year in a darker orange pattern. And on the right-hand side is what we've expended so far this year. If you take a look in whole, you can see that we're partway to spending all of our patterns in each of the goal areas. Our goal 3 is our biggest goal and includes a lot of activities that take place in the latter part of the year, a lot of support with testing, a lot of activities for tutoring, and some stuff that's just still coming through the pipe. So while it looks like we might be a little far behind on that one, we will reach our goal spending. And the best thing I can say about this slide is what we're representing to you is that we're actually spending in the areas that we told you we would in our LCAP, which was developed through our budget engagement process. So not only have we gotten information from our community, developed our LCAP, and provided that information back, we are spending in the same pattern that we intended to when we developed that plan. I'm most excited about this slide today to share with you some of the new and expanded areas of focus that we have included in our LCAP expenditures. So we have our high school wellness centers are new to this year and were created for some SEL support at all of our high schools and is included in our goal 5. We were able to expand our homeless and foster youth program utilizing new social workers that are included in our goal 5. Our literacy program, for those of you who have been really interested in our LCAP over the years, has been going strong for quite some time. But this year, we had an opportunity to include additional professional development and some additional material supports in our LCAP to further support that program. Our culturally responsive curriculum materials is included in Goal 3 this year, and we were able to add some new interpreter positions with our EL support in our Goal 3. The beauty of these ads is they came from the information that we received from our community. And we look forward to hearing more information from our community about what we want to add for the next year. Again, Like Dr. Baker and Mr. Suarez indicated, this is a year-long process where we are looking for your input in order to add these special programs into our district and support our district goals. So I'm going to take a moment to turn the presentation over to Mr. George Tsai for our LCAP metrics.
Thank you, Renee. So in addition to the expenditures, we are able to capture some data to share how we're doing with the goals mid-year. So you can see here that we've got our goals listed, the ones that Renee shared maybe 2 slides ago. Goal number 1 was about the basic services that are fundamental to academic success. We have 2 metrics that we can share with you here, the instructional materials and the facilities. We are pleased that we were able to provide every pupil with sufficient textbooks and instructional materials, and 99% of our facilities or our schools were rated in good or exemplary repair. For goal number 2, how are we engaging and how are we supportive for students, parents, and staff? One metric that we were able to capture, or one data, is the parent university workshops. So with those workshops, which were available in English, Spanish, and Khmer, we averaged about 1,700 views for each of those events between the beginning of the school year and the beginning of February. Goal number 3 is on academic progress towards the Common Core state standards. Those assessments will be given later on this spring, so we won't have that data available for you until later. We're moving on to goal number 4, which is college and career readiness. With that, we're able to share that 2/3 of our class of 2021 were able to enroll in a 2 or 4-year college. That's in line with where we were pre-COVID, but it is a little short, about 5% short of where we'd like it to be. So that is something that we'll continue working on. And then for our upper class, about half of them are currently enrolled in at least one AP course. Again, that's in line with where we were, but we would like to see that about 5% higher. Goal number 5, unfortunately, was the one that was most impacted by the pandemic. You can see we had our metrics here with attendance rate, chronic absenteeism. With the attendance rate, it is at 90%. It is typically around 96, 97%. And then with absenteeism, it was about 12.5% prior to COVID. It is now at 25%. And our suspension rate is at 1.7%. So that concludes what we were able to share with you for the LCAP update. James did share that there is the more extensive report that you can refer to for additional information. But now we would like to talk to you about budget engagement and your opportunity to participate. Dr. Lucy Salazar.
Thank you, George. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lucy Salazar. So thank you to everyone watching us right now. I'm glad to be here, and I'm here to share a call to action as we continue to move forward in the budget engagement process. So we heard already from Jim and from Renee and George. We heard about LCAP expenditures, the goals, some of the activities. We heard about the impact of programs and the services budgeted for last year. But we're continuing to implement programs and services funded by several of these programs, which include the LCAP. And we know that students continue to need to recover from COVID pandemic and the impacts from distance learning. So our team and our goal as a team is to engage with our community. And our goals are always to engage in ways that provide us an understanding and a better perspective from parents, from the community, from community agencies, nonprofits, from our staff, and absolutely from our students. And we want to know that our efforts are really being reflected in the many plans that are developed. And we view all this process as a continuous improvement cycle where we are planning for engagement. We're also making plans for programs and services to better serve students. But once we are implementing these programs, we want to make sure we study them. And so this mid-year review for LCAP is an example where we are able to study, and then we continue to act on the plans that we have developed. And that's how we consider our budget cycle and our budget process to be included within a budget, a continuous improvement cycle. So the LBUSD community has shared with us in years past their thoughts, and a lot of the results help form the plans that to be around, such as the LCAP, the ELO plan. And I'm saying all these plans that are found on our website that was mentioned earlier. It is www, and it's right here in the middle, lbschools.net/LCAP, LCAP. And what we are asking for you today is we're coming to you with the call of action, and we really want you to engage with us, and we want to know what is your thinking around the budget now? What are your priorities, your aspirations for children, for students in our schools? And so our budget process goes through a cycle, but right now we're doing a concerted effort to hear from you. And so we've launched the Thought Exchange. Again, you can find it on lbschools.net/LCAP. And we want to hear from you, but maybe you've already have gone in to the survey. We encourage you to go back in and see what new thoughts have been added, and continue to rate rate new thoughts that you have not rated already. But maybe you haven't done it already. Maybe the email somehow went into spam and you didn't realize it. But we're here to share with you on lbschools.net/LCAP. You can find our Thought Exchange. And we really hope that you engage with us, that you share your thoughts, your aspirations for how you feel we can best serve students through programs and services. Maybe after tonight, you've heard some things that you're like, I hadn't thought about that. We encourage you, again, go back in. So there's really two things we're asking you to do. One, of course, is go into our website and engage through the Thought Exchange. But the second, we know that many of you are part of parent networks. Many of you are part of the community. You have neighbors, you have friends, your children have friends. Any parent you come across, remind them, hey, did you fill out that budget engagement survey, that Thought Exchange? And if they're saying, I don't know what you're talking about, send them to lbschools.net/LCAP, where they can find the Thought Exchange. So fill it out yourself, but then bring along another parent, maybe two parents, maybe your whole network of LBUSD parents. We really hope that we get to see and hear from you through our budget engagement Thought Exchange. I'm going to send it back to Mr. Suarez, but I'll be back. I'll be back to share some more.
Actually, I think Dr. Salazar.
Oh, you want me to say? Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
You see what we did there? Okay.
Yes. So thank you. No, thank you, Jim. Okay. So what we've asked, once you get to the Thought Exchange, you will see this question. So here's what we're asking of you when you go to the Thought Exchange. We're asking, as we continue to implement programs and supports identified in the LCAP, the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan, otherwise known as LASP, and Dr. Baker referenced it earlier today, and the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, also known as ESSER 3, what are additional supports that need to be considered? Knowing that we need to take into consideration that certain funds, including Title I and LCFF supplemental and concentration funds, require targeted supports for our highest need students and schools. If you go to our website that I've mentioned several times, and that's on purpose, I want it to be that you walk away going, okay, I get it. I know what website I need to go to. Additionally, on that website, you will also find our timeline for our budget engagement. If you're curious, where else will this team be presenting? We've listed there all our pairing groups, which we are presenting to. In addition, I'm here to share with you that we are very excited because we're in the planning stages of a community budget session. It's going to take place on Tuesday, April 5th at Browning. Thank you so much. In the evening. And what we're really excited about, and the thing I tripped up on, is because we're so excited, it's a hybrid model. It'll be our first time doing a hybrid model. We will have our parents in our community in person, but we understand that not everyone is ready for that. And we want to be mindful of that. So we will also host a webinar where you can continue to share your thoughts for our budget engagement. So sorry. Thank you. So in closing, we want to acknowledge the challenges and the impact that COVID has had on our staff, on our families, and most importantly, students, your children. So we're here to reaffirm LBUSD's commitment to providing programs and services that meet the needs of students. We acknowledge and we sincerely thank the hard work and the dedication of employees, the support of our parents, and the resilience of our students who continue to reach for excellence. And I just want to say thank you for having us tonight. Dr. Baker, thank you for the opportunity to share this very important process, the budget engagement process. And we look forward to seeing how many people click on lbschools.net/LCAP, where you can find the Thought Exchange link. Thank you so much.
It makes me just want to be quiet for a couple of minutes while people are participating in the thought exchange. But I know that folks will continue to participate in the days ahead. And so we will carry on in our meeting, but we'll continue to reinforce. Thank you, Dr. Salazar and team. I love that it was expressed that this budget engagement process spans multiple departments and is an incredible team effort by our district team. So be on the lookout for more information to come. In closing this session, though, as we do in each Parent Connection, we want you to have some questions that you can ask back at your school, especially because more of the opportunities are coming for in-person meetings, including school site council and other ways that you interact with your schools around budget and available funds. And so here are 4 questions we think you can take with you tomorrow if you're going to a school and want to ask questions about the budget. The first is what programs and services have been provided in our school plan by the LCFF, the local control funding formula. There's a district LCAP, and schools also receive some funds that are referred to as LCFF funds, the local control funding formula. They get to decide, you get to decide with your school how those funds should be spent in service to students. So ask, what programs and services have been provided by LCFF? The second question, what programs and services, in particular interventions, are provided to students who are struggling? In that learning acceleration and support plan are many different interventions and supports. And so please be sure that you're asking if your student is in need of support. We're actually working on something, so I'll just share this momentarily. We're working on something that was suggested by parents and a group that we meet with regularly in the district to post tutoring opportunities at each school, and we're working to get those posted on our school website so that parents have one place to look for tutoring that may exist at their school. 2 other questions. How do decisions for our school budget get made? So some of the district funds that schools receive are governed by the school site council, and others are typically determined through a combination of teacher input and staff input and parental input. So ask at your school building, how do decisions for our school budget get made? And then what types of funds does the school have? So different schools have different funds depending on the composition of their school, depending on the level of which they serve, if they're elementary or middle or high school. And so inform yourself by asking, what types of funds does the school have? Lots of good questions that you can take back to your schools and connect not only to what you heard at a district level today, but that you can really think about asking at the school level. All right.
Dr. Baker, did we want to take some questions before we move on?
Sure. Are they questions for me, Mr. Suarez, or for the team?
Well, I think that Alyssa has them, and I think they're probably more for the team, but it could be any of us, I think.
Okay, great.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Suarez. The first question we have is related to basic services. So what is considered basic services when it comes to LCAP spending?
Renee, did you want to take that one?
Yes. So some of our basic services include our plant maintenance and operation, including security, operations, and maintenance, assistance to teachers such as coaches, program services, and technology. Those are 3 of the main things that make up our basic services for the district. Remember, while the LCAP Very specifically, we often talk about the supplemental grant portion. The LCAP does include the entire portion of the state funding in the LCAP. So a lot of the dollars that you'll see are in the base portion of the LCAP.
Thank you, Ms. Arcus. And if you have follow-up questions or you think of questions after tonight, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll get the questions to the right person, because I know sometimes you're thinking after the meeting, so that's perfectly fine. Another question is related to Goal 3. So one of the parents is concerned about the academic progress in Goal 3 being less than 50%. The comment is it would have made more sense to put more money in the beginning of the year to support Goal 3, and hopefully we would have seen more progress towards the end of the year. Does anybody have any commentary about Goal 3?
Sure, I can share some information about that. There is a nuance with this being a mid-year report, meaning we're picking up on this through December expenditures. However, you can imagine the school year where the bulk of the expenditures take place happens September through June. So when we're looking at these expenditures and it's mid-year through the calendar year, we really have only spent about 4/10 of our salaries, of our expenditures for our main operating expenses already. So the bulk of the expenditures, which is another 6/10 of the expenditure of the school year, are still about to happen. So I kind of touched on the fact that there would be some contracts that they do take place after the service is rendered. So I don't think that this is necessarily a concern about we haven't spent the money up front. I think this is a reporting concern about the mid-year piece that we have to kind of stop and report on our expenditures, but knowing that we're continuing on with our expenditures and we've been doing a lot, if not more, towards the beginning of the school year.
Okay, thank you for the very robust explanation. Another parent or participant is looking for establishing parent centers. So they would like to see some of the resources spent to establish parent centers, serving as like community liaisons to connect parents, teachers, and students together. And that's something that's music to my ears. So do I have anything to share about parent centers and maybe establishing them and what we have in place and so forth?
I'll just suggest that be put into the thought exchange. That's a great reason to go on and participate in the thought exchange.
Absolutely.
And Taylor, let me also add something just because I'm on the screen in this moment. Page 4 of the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan, that is the reason or the focus of our Parent Connection this year, actually gives a really nice simplified overview of the district's budget. And so I'll encourage parents and caregivers or community members who are participating tonight. Another reason to access the plan is just to get a simplified version of all of the funds that come together. Specifically, there's actually a pyramid that shows the foundational part of the budget. And there's also a pie chart that shows general fund expenditures for those who might be interested in that.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. I wanted to just share one thing about this last comment about parent centers. I'm really excited. I know everything hasn't been crafted yet, but we're really looking to expand Parent University. We've done some work. We're looking to grow and really take our work to the parents, meet the parents where they are. And Dr. Salazar is leading the charge in this, and we're just really excited to know. So look for some engagements at your school and in your communities. And so maybe not in the form of a parent center, but we're bringing our resources directly to you. So we'll be making more connections and more intimate connections next year. So we're really excited about that. Okay, let's see here. Someone has a comment about Dr. Love's presentation. They're wanting to have the spring acronym shared. And so I'm sure Dr. Love will love to share that with all the schools. We'll make sure that happens. And Dr. Baker, someone's commenting about having in-person meetings soon. So we'll just wait see what Dr. Baker has to say about that. But I think that's something that's on the horizon as well. A question about, will full day kinder be in the budget for next year? Now that TK is slated to be full day, will full day kinder be in the budget for next year?
Something that we're still working on, Ms. Taylor. So as soon as we have a decision and information about that we can share, we will definitely share it. hopefully by the next time we meet for Parent Connection, and if not sooner, if sooner, we will share it sooner.
Perfect. Thank you. No questions are still coming in. And as I said, if your question is not answered tonight, we will definitely be reaching out to you directly. So please share your contact information and we'll get the questions answered.
Great. So I'm really proud to bring forward something on behalf of our Board of Education tonight. And that is really important work that the Board of Education has been engaged in to bring forth a community vision as part of their work in leading the district from a policy and a strategic perspective. And so our Board of Education has been engaged in something that we call student outcomes focused governance work. And that is really thinking about all of the work that they do as board members alongside me as superintendent and of course our Long Beach team to think about the outcomes that we want for our students. So over the course of the last couple of months, the Board of Education has hosted a number of community sessions, in fact, 5 in-person community meetings, that in each session, 2 board members came together to facilitate a conversation about what we want for our students and what the community sees as a vision for the future. This was an opportunity for community to talk with each other, talk directly to board members, and to answer 3 important questions about the future of Long Beach Unified. And so I'm going to share those questions with you. This is also an opportunity for community to participate in the future strategic plan. So just like you heard that we're using thought exchange around budget, and we'll look at that data relative to our budget processes and our strategic plan, we're asking some questions. The board's asking some questions that will contribute to their goals and will also help us to think about our next strategic plan. Those 3 questions are, what are your hopes and dreams for students in LBUSD? And that can be answered if you have a little person in our district, a graduate, a graduating person, or as a community or a caregiver, or someone who cares about students in the district. So what do you can answer it from your perspective. What are your hopes and dreams for students in LBUSD? And then what do you want your child and all students to know and be able to do? We've asked it specifically around grade levels. So by the end of an elementary school at 5th grade, by the end of 8th grade, ending that middle school year, and then by the time a student graduates from Long Beach Unified, what do you want your child and all students to know and be able to do? And thirdly, a really important question, when we think about envisioning the future for our students, we want to be bold and we want to think about the greatness of our students and what will bring out that greatness. So these questions have been asked. We've had hundreds of responses to our survey. We had, I'll say, dozens of participants in person. We met across the city in 5 different regions, in each board region, actually. And with that process, we're not going to be meeting in person again, but we're coming to you with an opportunity to participate if you have not been able to participate. So just as you heard the webpage for participating in the thought exchange, there's another opportunity, and that is lbschools.net/visioning. If you have the screen up in front of you now on a computer, you can use your phone right now to get to that QR code, or to use that QR code to actually get to the survey. In addition to the opportunity tonight, while there won't be large meetings held in person, we will have our Board of Education and staff will be coming out to some district meetings and parent meetings, and are happy to help present an opportunity at a school site for those 3 questions to also be answered. For example, if you have an upcoming PTA meeting and you want someone to provide some support, either to help you do it yourself or to even come out or participate in a Zoom, you can call upon us to help you have that opportunity for those at your school site. So there's a message hotline that's also featured on this slide. It's not live. It won't be answered by a live person, but the message will be taken by a live person, and we'll make sure that we get your information, whether you're giving input or whether you want to share or ask a question or have somebody support asking those 3 questions at something at your school site. Those will remain open for the next about 4 to 6 weeks, when our board will come back together and discuss the data that has been collected through this process. And then they'll proceed. They'll proceed in really analyzing that data and determining their Board of Education goals that incorporate a community vision into their Board of Education goals. And our staff will use the information as we work starting in the months ahead and into the months of fall on a strategic plan that represents a future vision for Long Beach Unified students. So please participate in any way that you are able to connect to this process. So I saved some good news for the end. And actually I can see the sun setting outside of my office, and you can probably see it on my head. So I'll be brief, but I'm pleased to announce that our April 12th Parent Connection will be the first in-person parent connection this year at 6 p.m. We're still working on the location, so I don't have a location for you tonight, but we'll be in person for the first time. And we're really going to try to practice some things in April and May that we hope to create a new path for Parent Connection even into next school year. But I look forward to meeting those of you who would like to participate in Parent Connection in person. We'll definitely have a presentation that will follow the focus areas for this year. And then it will give us a chance to have a cup of coffee and maybe some cookies and enjoy each other's in-person company. So I hope you'll make a note on your calendar, April 12th, in person, someplace in the district boundaries. And as soon as we can confirm that, we will share the information through our regular information distribution and on social media. So thank you, community, caregivers, parents, those of you who support students. Thank you for being here this evening and for staying with us for this really important hour. And I think the team's going to come back on and make a pitch or a call to action for you to be participating fully in the opportunities that are here going forward.
Thank you, Dr. Baker, for the good news. Being in person will be awesome. But yes, I am back, and you can predict I am going to ask you to engage with us some more, or engage again. And I just want to thank the team that presented tonight on the budget engagement. And I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Suarez. And again, don't forget to go onto Thought Exchange at our great website. So thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Mr. Suarez.
So all I'm going to say is one line, which is lbschools.net/LCAP and lbschools.net/visioning. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Taylor, and thank you for joining us tonight. And we appreciate all of your input and your engagement.
I just want to say thank you to all of our parents, our caregivers, our guardians, our families, our community members for being with us tonight. Thank you to the presenters. This information is very, very important. And I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure that our participants did as well. So we look forward to seeing you in April. Thank you, Dr. Baker, for that wonderful news. We're excited to support your in-person parent connection. Have a good evening. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.